And rounding up at number 4, some people are going to disagree, but I got.
So with the college football playoff rankings right around the corner, we're going to get into what they look like right now and what our top 6 teams are.
I have Georgia and Michigan 1 and 2. Georgia because they're the defending champs, and until they get beaten, they're going to be number 1. The only thing is with both of those teams are their strength of schedules. Neither one of them have played really strong teams at this point. But in the month of November, they will both play tougher teams. All right, so right now I got them at 1 and 2. At number 3, I got Florida State. Reason I got Florida State number 3 because of that win that they had over a tough LSU team, a tough Duke team, and I just think that, with the 2 wide receivers, the good quarterback, right, they got the potential to go very far. And then for number 4, I have Ohio State. Ohio State has beaten 2 formidable opponents in Penn State and Notre Dame. However, right, even though they've won the games, they haven't looked good doing it, right? So that's the reason I have them at number 4. At number 5, I have Oklahoma with their big win over Texas. And at number 6, I have Washington because of their big win over Oregon. And then they kind of had a struggle win this weekend over Arizona State.
Mine's a little different. I have Georgia number 1 for the same reasons that you mentioned. I actually have Ohio State at number 2. They went to Notre Dame, beat them in their house, right? On those last minute, still won the game, right? And then they, pretty much destroyed Penn State. Ohio State's defense showed up in a major way when, a lot of people didn't think they were going to be like that on defense this year. So I got Ohio State at number 2. Coming in at 3, I got Florida State. Like you said, they have 2 good wins against formidable opponents. The only reason I got them behind Ohio State is because I think in that Duke game, if Duke's starting quarterback doesn't get hurt, I think Duke wins that game because they controlled that entire game up until Duke's starting quarterback went out with that injury. And then at 4, I got Michigan. Michigan hasn't played anybody. Like you said, they do get into the meat of their schedule in November. I just think that, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're beating teams that they're supposed to beat. And so they're getting style points right now. But I got them at 4. And just like you, I got Oklahoma at 5 and Washington at 6. Both of those teams on the outside looking in. Washington struggled against Arizona State, which really, they should have lost that game. You can't, even though you're coming off that, that big time victory versus Oregon, you can't have a 1-5 team keep it close against you, right? If Arizona State's quarterback doesn't throw that pick 6, it's not looking good for Washington, right? And then Oklahoma, they have that big win against Texas, right? They did struggle this past weekend versus UCF. They needed a stop, which is a bad play call for a 2-point conversion on UCF. I don't know what Gus Malzahn down there doing, but that was a terrible play call. Leave the ball in your quarterback's hands, man. He the one that got you there. Let him make the throw. They tried some double pass bullshit. I don't know what it was. It was a terrible play call. But, those are 2 teams I have on the outside looking in.
All right, fellas. My mentality was like, if I was picking today who I'd have in there, right? So Georgia. National champions, they're in there. They haven't lost. Right, even though their strength of schedule is like 95th, somewhere down there, they're in there. At number 2, I got Florida State. So they had the 2 big wins, LSU. They have the Clemson win. And the Duke win, to me, is a quality win. Duke has been playing lights-out football. Notre Dame struggled with them. They beat Clemson, right? And I know a lot of people are like, well, Clemson's probably not that good. Clemson's still a solid team. Duke is just, they've been playing consistent football the last few weeks. So that's why I got Florida State at number 2. At number 3, I got Ohio State. That was an impressive win over Penn State, man. Penn State had the defense. They had everything going except being on the road. But the game, besides the second quarter, I think the game was controlled by Ohio State. That was a statement win, a big win for them. And Ohio State has played quality opponents this year. So I got them at number 3. And rounding up at number 4, some people are going to disagree, but I got Washington, right? For the simple fact that Oregon win was huge. They put up, it was a hard fought game, put a lot of numbers up. They have dynamic receivers, an explosive offense. And I attribute the struggle win as, you know what I'm saying, after winning a big game, kind of have that hangover that leads into the next game. But they have the quarterback, they have everything going for them. They have to just continue winning. On the outside looking in, Michigan. Michigan hasn't played anybody. They've won the games. They're doing their thing, right? They haven't lost. But if I was to pick today, I would base it on the fact that I think Ohio State's a better team than Michigan, and they're going to represent the Big Ten. And Oklahoma, on the outside looking in, at 6. Oklahoma's a good team. UCF, that was it shouldn't have been that close at all. And like you said, some questionable play calling. It could have been a different outcome. But Oklahoma's still a very dangerous team. So I got them at 6.
Still early, right? And these teams, they're going to, shift around some because, all these teams that we listed, they don't have a loss right now. And then, you still got some heavy hitters down there at the bottom. You still got Texas, you got Alabama, you got Oregon, you got Utah, you got Penn State. Those teams could, slowly start to rise up. So, I think this would have been the perfect year to have that 12-team playoff, right? Because I think there's no dominant team this season, right? So I know, the 12-team playoff kicks in next year, but it would have been great to have it this year.
Yeah, I agree. None of these teams have beaten teams 50-0 and giving up 0 points a game. There's no team like that this year. Or just we'll be having a different conversation. But I think the 12-team playoff would have been great to have this year, man, because I think any of these teams can match up, and you never know who's going to win that game. So,
yeah, we ain't got no world beaters in the top 12 right now. And that's great, man. Like I said, 100% agree. 12-team playoff, and you got some matchups in there that just would be amazing to watch, right? And anybody down, if you look at the 12 and up, any one of those teams can compete with one another. And some have some strengths that match up perfectly against another's weaknesses. So it would be an amazing postseason to have this year. But we got to wait one more year, ain't it?
Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell us how we doing. Take care.